MrBeast recently published a video called Every Country on Earth Fights for $250,000. Now, while most of his 10-year-old fans are going to be excited about, wow, cool, games, the Olympics, sports, how exciting, the politics nerds amongst us thought, hold on, what does MrBeast consider to be a country? And more interestingly, what doesn't he consider to be a country? Essentially, MrBeast has managed to throw himself into every single geopolitical conflict in the world right now. He's made some pretty weird decisions. So I just want to go through the choices he made and sort of we can get an understanding, a real study of what MrBeast's politics are. What is MrBeast foreign policy? That's what we're here to do today. Let's define MrBeast's foreign policy. Let's analyze some of his weirder choices and just see what the world would look like if it was implemented in his way. So let's just jump straight in here. First of all, shout outs to @ILoveMyWife with 2 eyes on Twitter for letting me use their thread to cross over this topic. It's a great summary of the video and of the weird decisions MrBeast made. I asked permission to use it, so please go and throw them a follow. They've done a lot of great work on this. We have the thumbnail here, right? The thumbnail, it's pretty standard MrBeast. He's making the one face he makes, and we've got, okay, nothing pretty dramatic here. We're like, oh yeah, the US is a country, Brazil, Russia, okay, Russia's there, and everyone's like, okay, a little bit, okay, maybe. I think we're fine, but interesting. They're not allowed in the regular Olympics, but they are allowed in this one. So first of all, I think the main question that comes to everyone's mind, I go, okay, who does MrBeast recognize and who doesn't he? The first one that came to my head, it's Ukraine. Like, what border disputes does he have with Ukraine? Taiwan is obviously a pretty big one as well, and the most exciting one and controversial is Palestine and Israel. Will he recognize Palestine? So it actually starts off not that bad. So we've got MrBeast does recognize Russia's annexation of Crimea. So from 2014, he does say, okay, Crimea is Russia. But he doesn't recognize the annexation of Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. So basically, MrBeast, because this is where we get our first sort of like idea of MrBeast's model of the world, right? So he's post 2014, obviously. That was when the annexation of Crimea was. He does recognize the annexation of Crimea. That was fine. That's Russia's now. We're happy with that. But what's happening right now? No. Ukraine is still Ukraine. It still has Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. He is not going to recognize the bogus local elections. How exciting. Because currently Ukraine's on a counteroffensive, and they said they're going to take back all the land that was taken from Ukraine since 2014. So I believe they intend to take back Crimea. So essentially, this conception of MrBeast is post 2014, pre 2021, sort of in that area. He goes, okay, fine, you guys you should be able to take Lugansk, Donetsk back. That's cool. Have that. But Crimea, come on, annexation, you know. So okay, interesting choices there by MrBeast. Not the worst, not the most bad. I think we can imagine. Next one is the one everyone is going to be asking about. MrBeast does recognize Palestine, so pretty good. That's a good start, but only in the West Bank. So like a small bit, which. Look, I'm going to be honest, this is a MrBeast video. I think that the fact he's included Palestine at all, I think, is already pretty good. Because I think you could definitely see him being like, oh, I'm going to not be controversial. He's American, they don't know. But so it's not the worst possible thing. But what's really weird in the actual video is there's this thing where like they're like talking about who they don't like, or who they're like voting out, blah blah blah. And like who they don't really trust, and like multiple people from countries go, yeah, we don't really like Israel that much.
Country doesn't like Israel, low-key. A lot of people don't like him, so.
And like the guy who's like talking to them like doesn't have it in his head, like why? So he's like laughing a lot and going like, haha, yeah, that's cool. I wonder why. And it's like, it's such a ridiculous clash of worlds. You have like this MrBeast like really fast edited, like really loud, like fucking yeah, like 12-year-old fans are gonna go crazy for this. And you just have loads of people being like, yeah, our country doesn't really love Israel that much, and it just washes over their heads. Hilariously concerning for MrBeast. Oh my god. Another one that I think most people will be thinking about. MrBeast does not recognize Taiwan. Fuck that. That's China. Okay, so Taiwan's a bit of an awkward one because obviously it's not officially recognized as a country by like the US, for example, but it's essentially treated as a country, right? It has a de facto embassy, you know, and it has its own government, it has its own leaders. Because the way the US treats it is it's basically a country. We're just not going to officially recognize that it's a country, so China didn't get up our ass. Also, I don't know how big MrBeast's viewership is in China, but I imagine that he'd have some problems if he recognized Taiwan as its own country. That would have been a bit awkward. Seemingly, though, I've dumbed down the thread a bit here, he does recognize Hong Kong. So they're their own place. That's cool. You're your own country, but not Taiwan, which is a bit of an interesting, like, separation there. Because China's obviously trying to, or like kind of taking it back. I don't know, they still have their own government, kind of. So, you know, some interesting lines, some compromises for MrBeast to walk there. You know, like China can have Taiwan, but Hong Kong, no. That's its own thing. So, you know what? Interesting foreign policy approach to China, MrBeast has. I guess if he's MrBeast, if Trump's Mr. America, MrBeast's country is Beast. So yeah, interesting, you know, tightrope for MrBeast foreign policy to walk along there. Now we get into the slightly weirder part here. So MrBeast recognizes Western Sahara, but he also recognizes Morocco's claim up to the de facto border, which, according to I Love My Wife, Prolly goes against either country's claims of either country's claims of the territory, because they both claim the whole thing. So I love it, like, he's actually just like actively drawing like arbitrary compromises, which I think is so funny. This is it, you know. He's not just trying to keep every country happy. You know, this isn't just about like making sure, you know, Chinese audiences don't get too mad if he recognizes Taiwan, making sure that Russia and Ukraine can sort of not get too piped up either way, but he's actively making compromises. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if like every kid in Western Sahara and in Morocco go to their parents and are like, fucking, this is what we should do. MrBeast told me so, and then landmark compromises are formed. I also love that like MrBeast is basically doing like a British colonialism, and it's just like drawing random lines in Africa where he's like, yeah, you're kind of different. Fuck it, straight line. It looks nice. It's even. Which of course, as a native Brit, you know, I've got a game recognized game. You know, that's something we did for a long time. So I don't know, maybe MrBeast has some British blood in him somewhere, because good lord, you know, he's got some talent. The kid shows promise. This is where things get a little bit weird for MrBeast's foreign policy. So basically, he's assigned Greenland and some surrounding territories to Canada. But some people would say, oh, this is just a mistake. Like, his editors probably just, like, weren't thinking about it, or they didn't have someone from Greenland, and they were like, well, no one's gonna fucking Google it. Who knows what Greenland is? It's not even green. They lied to us. Fuck it, not a real country. But you know what? No. This MrBeast cares about his politics, right? He is a foreign policy leader here. You know, he's molding the minds of today's 10-year-olds. So he's taking this very seriously. He's painstakingly gone through this. So I can only assume that this is his way of hoping / predicting / encouraging Canada to take over Greenland. Or there's some sort of like historic claim. Like, I bet there's like some, I don't know, someone like Newfoundland or whatever the hell off the coast of Canada like has claims that they should have Greenland. Like, I think this is him being like, no, Canada, that belongs to them now. Like, he's recognizing the Canadian right over the land of green, which, you know what, is pretty radical. You know, it definitely shake up the status quo, but that's what MrBeast's all about here, you know what I mean? He's not about trying to please anyone. He's about his stone cold truth, trying to balance power. And if there's one thing right now that Canada needs, it's more cold, deserty wastelands. I mentioned MrBeast's colonial sort of strategies in the past, like earlier in this video, and this is a great example of it right here. So basically, I think what MrBeast has done here, right? He's recognized the country of Georgia, but he's given it the flag for the US state of Georgia. Now, once again, some of you might just think this is a simple mistake. No. This is MrBeast saying having two Georgias is confusing. He's decided the mightier one, the one that would win in battle, is now Georgia. Georgia now owns European Georgia. Where this gets more confusing is if this also implies that Georgia is its own sovereign country and it now has taken over a country Georgia, or is the state Georgia just now bigger and is now over there? like how Alaska has like a bit of islands or whatever. Or like imagine they were like, oh yeah, Hawaii's now California. You know, like there's no Hawaii, it's just California. Hawaii's an island off of California. They're both the same state. Who knows? I'm going to assume that he's gone with country because there isn't another flag. I think this is just that Georgia, the country. But I was going to say this means that Georgia, the country, has been recognized as a state, as just an extension of the state of Georgia. But it's in the game. There is someone from Georgia, but he has the... Okay, no. Georgia is its own country. The state of... This is so confusing. The US state of Georgia, according to MrBeast, has, should, or deserves to have a sovereign claim over the former country of Georgia, now known as the US state of Georgia. Boom. Sorted. MrBeast, genius stuff. More of MrBeast's slightly weird approach to the African continent. Once again, very British of him. He assigns the entire country of Guinea-Bissau to Gambia, or, according to I Love My Wife, he assigns the flag of Gambia to Guinea-Bissau. It's unclear. Now, this is where they're wrong. Once again, these are all intentional decisions by MrBeast in how he believes the world should be shaped, right? This isn't confusing. He's calling for the unification of Guinea-Bissau and Gambia. It shouldn't be Guinea-Bissau and Gambia separately. It should be Guinea-Bissau-Gambia. That's what MrBeast is calling for. You know, let's make things unified. Let's make them straight lines. We're British, goddammit. You know, straight lines are good. Okay, now we get to a very odd bit. I might struggle to justify this as an actual decision here. MrBeast has assigned a spot on the Thailand-Cambodia border to Vietnam. It's unclear what happened to Vietnam properly. It's unclear what actually happened to Vietnam, because you can see on the map here, Vietnam is this bit, like on the side. I don't know why he's put it there in between. They probably couldn't find it. Or, I think what this is probably saying in a more subtle way, right? Think about this, right? MrBeast didn't have a time to actually explain his foreign policy, right? He had to go by pure visuals. So I think what he's saying here is that Vietnam, not a real country, right? And its land should be split equally in between Thailand and Cambodia. Hence, it's on the border, right? Saying like, oh, Vietnam's actually here now because it's nowhere. It should be both, but to even split. I think that's what he's saying. I know that's a bit confusing, but you know what? MrBeast sometimes acts in mysterious ways. And we just have to accept that. I think that's what he wants. I think he wants to split up Vietnam in between Thailand and Cambodia. I think that's the only conclusion here. Slightly controversial one here. MrBeast recognizes the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, the Taliban state, by displaying their new flag. Now, let's be clear here. We're not talking about the Afghanistan flag. That's this. This is the original Afghanistan flag. This was the flag that they had. We're talking about the Taliban flag. Bada bing, bada boom. This shit. This is what MrBeast has used for Afghanistan. So MrBeast clearly calling for the recognition of the Taliban government. A slightly more not hawkish, I guess. A slightly more, let's be a realist, you know, realism. Slightly more realist understanding of foreign policy. You know, he's just saying, look, we got to work with them. They're not very good, but let's roll with the punches. They have legitimately taken over the government. Good for them. So interesting there that MrBeast does recognize does recognize the Taliban as the official rulers as the official governing body of Afghanistan. That's an interesting one. So this is a bit of a weird one again, similar to the Georgia situation. MrBeast has two Tunisias on the map, right? So he's got two Tunisias. He's got Tunisia, where it normally is, and then there's Cyprus. Okay, so like let's have a little bit of a look here. So I've got Google Maps open. Let's go to Tunisia, okay? Tunisia's here, right? It's North Africa. Whereas Cyprus is quite far away. This is Tunisia, right? So he's put a pin here. And he's also put one in Cyprus here. So once again, I think similar to the Georgia situation, this is MrBeast saying Cyprus isn't a country. It's part of Tunisia. Why he's chosen to recognize a sovereign right for Tunisia to lay claim over land in Cyprus is beyond me. But, hey, he must know more than I do, right? He's one of the leading powers of the world, and good for him. He's just put a pin in the middle of Europe. I don't know. Where is that? Hold on, let me try and track this down. Is that in Germany? Okay, let's find this. Okay, so MrBeast has put a US pin basically in the middle of Europe, right? So let's have a look. So it's near Switzerland. So yeah, he's put a USA pin in what looks like Germany, because Switzerland is here. It could be Liechtenstein. No, Liechtenstein's this, right? Yeah, this is Liechtenstein. Oh no, that's like Liechtenstein's tiny. Fuck me. Is it Austria? Oh, it could be. So this is here and it's there. So we're talking like North Switzerland. Yeah, it's Germany. Okay, so he's put a US pin in Munich. He's put it here. Oh my god. Okay. All right. So MrBeast has put a US pin in Germany. Okay. Once again, this is MrBeast saying, "Fuck Germany." Oh, this is MrBeast. Never doesn't recognize that the US ever gave up, like, is it East or West Berlin? Because it was like the Soviets controlled half of it, the Allies controlled the other half. I think MrBeast never gave up on those aspirations. I think MrBeast still believes that the US should still have at least half of Germany. Yeah, the pin does look more like it's in Munich, obviously, because like where's Berlin? Like, Berlin's miles from this, but I think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying no. Half of the Germany at least should still belong to the USA. He never recognized that they gave it up. Okay, all right. That's some pretty long-lasting beliefs there. I respect that. You know, you got to fight them Soviets somehow. And yeah, this has been trying to understand MrBeast's foreign policy. A lot of weird decisions here. A lot of sort of colonial tendencies I think he holds deep down. A lot of like, this country should take that back. They have no historic claim over it, but let's just take it anyway. It's definitely a little bit inconsistent, but you know what it is? It's radical. And that's what we're here for. You know, it's really interesting. You know, I think this will have a real impact on how we understand international relations going forward. Because think about this, right? You know, we've got sort of the big ideas around understanding foreign policy. Right? We've got realism, we've got liberalism, and we have MrBeastism. All the main sort of like understandings of international relations are grounded in sort of worldviews that then influence how they should approach the world, right? So realism, which is sort of considered the more like conservative one, I guess, basically believes that like every country is their only motivation is to enrich themselves, whether that's finance or military or whatever, right? And this therefore leads to the conclusion that countries should be as military built up as possible, right? You maintain peace by threat and by power, and you need to have like one mega power to sort of dominate the world to keep everyone else from, you know, killing each other or having in constant fights, right? If everyone's equal, there's going to be constant fights because people want to get better than everyone else. And then the other side of liberalism is more about an idea of a balance of power, right? It believes that like cooperation can be quite effective, things like the UN, and sort of more, yeah, like democratic processes of trying to maintain world order. So it tries to keep things more equal so that no one really wants to fight. MrBeastism is a bit more elusive in its groundings. I would love to have him make another video, like, you know, same style, everything like yelling, you know, editing for 12-year-olds, the same font, but it's just him like running through how his understanding of the world has influenced his choices. Like, what has led MrBeast to want the country of Georgia to be taken over by the state of Georgia? You know, what's led to MrBeast recognizing an apparent claim of over Cyprus by Tunisia? I don't know. I want to know. I urge MrBeast to please tell us, enlighten us on how you view the world. But yeah, this has been exploring MrBeast's foreign policy. I've loved every second of this. This has been hilarious. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos analyzing YouTubers' politics. Oh god, right. See you around.